So I want to show you what happens, okay, if you take a population of at-risk people like veterans and have people in the group that actually follow the ACC/AHA guidelines. The answer is really clear. Their risk goes down. The more plant-based you are, the plant-based diet index, okay, the more plant-based you are, the lower your risk is. So what's on the right? That's actually the African Americans, getting back to the healthcare disparities. And why is the slope so much steeper? It's because our diet was so much worse to begin with, that if you do a plant-based diet in an African American, you can actually dramatically lower the risk of future. Hopefully everybody has seen Netflix or read the JAMA article, Journal of American Medical Association, on the twin study. I always talk about the risk factors because I'm only pretty much talking about the randomized trials here. But the fact of the matter is, you would see a substantial lowering in cholesterol if you went on a plant-based diet and compared to your genetic equivalent. And so the same thing was true of the TMAO level, tremendously better. And so I'm hoping that everyone will remember that study, mostly probably because it was on Netflix. And the additional feature that was not included in the JAMA article, I guess it was a subsequent analysis, showed that the telomere shortening, which has been related to aging, was less in the vegans. So if you want to be the younger twin, be the one that's plant-based. So we're going back to that theme of healthcare disparities and removing the fence. We've had this data from Adventist Health Study 2, going back 30 years, talking specifically about what happens if you were African American and you're a high-risk person with a bunch of risk factors and you do the vegetarian diet. Well, the answer was that all of your risk factors would dramatically, basically get cut in half. And so that is the kind of intervention that we would need to try to remove the barriers. Baxter Montgomery has actually done this trial as well. 4 weeks of a whole food plant-based diet, dramatically dropping LP(a) 15%. Every aspect, the LDL cholesterol went down, but the small dense LDL, that is the part of the LDL cholesterol that's more dangerous, that went down as well. The total cholesterol, everything got better. Now, fact is that that's only a 4-week intervention, and the hard part, which I found out the hard way, is to actually get it to be sustained after you're not giving the food anymore. So we did this very similar to what Baxter Montgomery did in Houston. We did it on the south side of Chicago, a very famous church because it happened to be Barack Obama's old church. And we got 50 volunteers to say that they would eat plant-based meals that we sent them to their homes for Lent. And fact of the matter is that diet taken for 5 weeks did everything you saw in the Baxter Montgomery study, plus the Adventist Health study, everything got better. We did measure TMAO. It went down 43%. But insulin levels, you think of it as a good thing, but no. If you have a high insulin level because you're insulin resistant, you get an elevated level and it makes more plaque and makes fat cells more fat. So you become insulin resistance piles up on itself, and then you end up with diabetes. To see a 43% drop in serum insulin meant that these people were on their way to health. So we had tremendous improvement of pretty much all of the risk factors. We recalculated their risk factors with the risk calculator, the ASCVD risk score, before and after, and we saw almost a 20% decrease in that risk. We actually tried to give everyone the Association of Black Cardiologists Heart and Soul Cookbook to try to get them to eat a whole food plant-based diet. And we thought we were doing pretty good. But in the follow-up, we only had about 1/3 of people who said they had substantially changed their diet. A third said they were changing a little bit, and 1/3 just didn't change at all. They just took the free food, got their risk factors, showed the improvement, and didn't go back. So we have a long way to go to change that kind of behavior. One of the ways that we need to change that behavior is us. So this was a major issue that probably my most depressing ever publication is where we actually did a survey of physicians at Loyola and Rush before I went to Kentucky, and to see how many people were following what's on our plate, how many people were following the American Heart Association um, uh, publication. And the answer was exclusively plant-based was only 1 out of 274. There were another 10 who were going to lower their stroke but die anyway because of eating seafood. But out of those 11, following the guidelines, this was very humbling to know that physicians where the leading cause of cardiologists is still heart disease, are really not listening to the guidelines. If they're not doing it for themselves, they're not doing it for their patients, their families. It's not affecting the community. It's not going to help our country. So I'm hoping that you all, and this is why I led with that task of asking you to try and talk to your doctor, show them the data that I've been showing you today, and see if we can't make it better. Processed red meat. I showed you the data from Harvard, but what I didn't show you, because I'm a cardiologist, but processed red meat is a World Health Organization group 1 carcinogen, meaning cancer causing. Eggs, you've seen multiple studies talking about the increase in mortality when you eat eggs. And so what is this? Why am I showing you this? Well, this is a cardiology meeting. This was actually the American Society of Preventive Cardiology, and this was the food that the doctors were being served. So we have a long way to go. One of the bright spots happened about 18 months ago, and that was where the White House put together a conference on hunger, nutrition, and health. And we were able to not just complain about how the Americans are eating, but make some discrete recommendations. And there are about 200 recommendations. I was on one of the committees that submitted some of them, and it was really good to hear the President of the United States quoting the things that I had recommended, such as getting rid of the congressional subsidies for plant-based things that are not helpful, such as high fructose corn syrup and refined grains. We shouldn't have subsidies for animal products production. We should have subsidies to enhance the pricing and production of fruits and vegetables to improve accessibility. This is something that's proven because Finland did it, and they were able to switch from, famously from dairies to berries, and dramatically drop the serum cholesterol in their population and drop the number of people who had heart attacks. Education programs on plant-based nutrition to eliminate food deserts. That is, this whole idea of food deserts, if you think about it, the mom and pop grocery store is not in the healthcare business. They're in the keep the mom and pop grocery store open business. And the way to do that is to sell people what they'll buy and what they want. And a bunch of fruits and vegetables that are going to rot because they're not being purchased is just costing them money. So these food deserts are where and you notice that isn't a misspelling. I did that on purpose, that they become food desserts. People are going to buy desserts instead of fruits and vegetables, and we're going to have these horrific cardiovascular outcomes. So education programs get people to understand what's good and what's bad. This next one, red, yellow, and green labels on the cover of items to indicate harm or neutral or beneficial foods. This has been done in other countries. It works to change purchasing patterns, and then that would fix the food deserts because people would demand the green stuff, hopefully, And to the extent that they did that, the mom and pop stores are going to supply it because that's where the money is. The one that they didn't take up at all was halting television advertising for fast food. Um, I know that's big business and it's hard to fight that, but we could do pretty well if we got everyone to if we did these five things. The advertising of bad food would go away because people were just going to not eat it.